As I'm sure many of you have heard, Colorado theater shooter James Holmes was found guilty on all charges and, as of yesterday, was sentenced to life in prison. A lot of you think he should have gotten the death penalty. I agree with that. The only problem is, our legal system is so screwed up that there's going to be too many appeals as it is. A lot of people are against the death penalty for the mentally ill. I can't understand why. He managed to get found guilty on all counts. He knew right from wrong when he killed those people. He was a planner, he knew it was wrong, and he didn't care. He knew right from wrong because he had been planning it for some time. That negates the possibility of him being found unfit to stand trial or not guilty by reason of insanity. The problem with this country is left-wing loonies want to sell the lie that it's the gun's fault and we should have more gun control, whereas the right-wing nuts think we should eliminate gun control and give everyone a gun to defend themselves with. Liberals think guns are the problem, conservatives think guns are the solution. But the big elephant in the room here is the country's failed mental health care system. That is the problem. Apparently nobody in this country seems to think that the country's failed mental health care system is in any way relevant. You'll find, however, that in all these major shootings, the one common factor is mental illness. In the case of Jared Lee Loughner, paranoid schizophrenia that was untreated. Oh, some of you might think that Jared Lee Loughner was on some kind of drug, right? Wrong. He was not taking psychotropic drugs. In fact, he hadn't been diagnosed with schizophrenia until after the fact. Why hadn't he been diagnosed? I'll tell you why. His whole family knew that there was something wrong with him. But there's a stigma attached to mental illness. Parents don't want to accept the fact that their children are mentally ill, even if they recognize the symptoms. They don't want to get them treated because they don't want that stigma attached to them. The same is true with any family member. If you have a mental illness, your whole family's going to know it, and they're not going to want you treated because they don't want to accept the fact that one of their own kin is sick. And that's the problem with mental illness in this country, is that it's kept in the closet for a lot of people. It's a bigger stigma than homosexuality or even pedophilia. What we need to do about mental illness is create a more organized and efficient system of treatment for the illness. We need to make it more affordable, we need to make it more systematic, and we need to stop ignoring the pertinent factors about mental illness because we think they are irrelevant. More people need to be made aware of mental illness in the first place, because as many as 1 in 5 Americans suffers from some mental illness of some sort. 2.7 million Americans have paranoid schizophrenia or other mental illnesses. Half of the 2.7 million Americans with schizophrenia don't take their medication. They don't think they're sick, and the side effects are unbearable. But they have to take their medication, and sometimes it can be very difficult to get them to do that. If more and more people are aware of the existence of mental illness and how to recognize the symptoms in time, then there's a better chance that they will get their family members the help they so desperately need. But as I said, the existing healthcare system is messed up, and it's not exactly conducive to effectively treating these people. To quote Dr. Javier Amador of Columbia University, who studies schizophrenia, as a group, people with schizophrenia are not more violent, but that half of this group who don't take their medication are significantly more violent. They're between 4 and 6 times more likely to be violent than the average person. That's something you should all be thinking about. Paranoid schizophrenia is a mental illness. More specifically, it's a brain disease. It was recently shown using MRI scans that schizophrenic patients lose 25% of their brain tissue in the first 5 years of the disease. Whatever's causing the disease is destroying their brains. So it's not just a thought disorder, it's a brain disorder. It's like your computer's motherboard and RAM chips being screwed up. Anyway, as I've said, we need to educate more people about mental illness and its symptoms so that they can recognize when a friend or family member has these symptoms and needs to be treated. While I'm fully aware that psychiatry doesn't have all the answers to our mental problems, I do know that psychiatrists can help. The problem is they're not trying hard enough, and apparently not enough research is being done into the nature and causes of these mental illnesses. I hope against hope that someday we'll be able to find a cure, or at least a preventative treatment for mental illness. This is Alflond, signing off.